Hey everyone. First, let me apologize for the confusion. I don't know what was going through my mind. I guess it's all the stuff that I'm thinking about with the move and everything. I completely forgot it was the 4th already, and time's just flying by. So, we'll just go ahead and get our conversation started through a discussion forum. And what I'm going to do is, in just a minute, is to provide a little context for that forum and get you thinking about it. And then hopefully next week we can get together and meet face to face and kind of debrief about what you got out of it. Also, I'm going to give you a couple of extra readings to prepare for our next topic, which will be how does culture and acculturation impact a child's sense of well-being. So here's a little bit of context for the conversation. 2010, the United States Census confirmed a steady population growth of cultural and ethnic minorities over the last several decades. Of the nearly 200 million people living in the United States, approximately 80 million identify themselves as other than white or of Hispanic origin. The census also showed that diversity is increasing in nearly every state, making it more likely that educators in any setting will have the opportunity to work with students from different ethnocultural backgrounds than themselves. And I use that word opportunity because it really is a great and wonderful opportunity. It's an exciting and daunting possibility as well. It's exciting for the richness that a diverse population extends to our communities, as well as for the professional and personal growth that accompanies cross-cultural interactions. It's daunting because of the increased responsibility we have to employ culturally relevant approaches in our work. In fact, the need for multicultural competence is so great that some authors warn of a cultural malpractice for those who practice with inadequate knowledge of cultural dynamics. Now that's way off, and I doubt that it'll happen, but it has been brought up. Nonetheless, the imperative is clear and urgent, especially in the context of contemporary education. If we want to avoid making erroneous assumptions that have serious consequences for our students, we must take steps to ensure that we have the necessary knowledge, understanding of culture as it impacts how kids learn. Victor said something to the extent, you say you're white, that you're American, don't you know that means something? Where I come from, being black means something. This comes under the heading of teacher, know thyself. So when we think of culture, we can generally think of it in terms of like a developmental medium. Everything that we value, everything that we know to be real, and everything we assume to be normal is influenced by the culture that we grew up within. From a teaching perspective, answers to huge questions like what constitutes an intelligent person, or what should a person be or become? See Christopher, 1996 for that. These are largely influenced by our culture of origin. So for these reasons, the best place to begin in our quest to become culturally competent educators is with a thorough examination of ourselves as cultural beings. To what extent are the answers we formulate to these questions influenced by our own culture of origin? What does it mean to be from the culture that we are from? So I'd like you to take a few minutes to consider these questions. What do you think constitutes an educated person? What do you think a person ought to be or become? Has there ever been a time in your life when you experienced racism or discrimination? If not, was there ever a time when you were harassed or prevented from doing something because of some unique characteristic you possess? What were your thoughts and feelings about this experience? Can you recall a time when your own thoughts about people who are different from you affected how you treated them? Would you do anything differently now? And finally, how would you describe the American culture? What parts of this culture do you embrace? What parts do you reject? How does your internalization of the American culture impact what you think constitutes an educated person? Now, these questions aren't necessarily going to show up in the forum, but they're meant to just kind of get your thoughts flowing. So I'll close with that. Take a look at what the forum is, and hopefully I'll see you next week.